Taurus, welcome in. I hope you're doing well. So we're going to do a quick spread. It's basically a moon cycle spread. We want to take a look at what it is you're desiring, what it is you are manifesting, and we're going to basically see what the blockage is for you. Maybe get some details on what's actually happening, or to see if we can break it down. And then the final card is based on the full moon. We'll see, hey, are you celebrating, is your manifestation coming to fruition, or, are there small milestone goals? We do have 2 full moons. So we have the one in Scorpio, which is May 1st. And then there will be another one at the end of May. Okay, so it doesn't have to be where anything happens this full moon. It could just be the fact that maybe you're opening your eyes up to more of what the blockage is to work on it. And maybe by the next full moon, you can celebrate some milestones, or you'll be completely full out celebrating. So I'm going to be using the Moon and Stars Tarot, and I might be called to go to the book for a specific card if I'm called to it, and read more about what the specific meaning is from the author illustrator. If not, we'll just carry on. And keep in mind that Taurus does not have to be your sun, moon, rising, or your Venus. It can be any placement. If you do not have any planet placements in Taurus, well, you have a house. That's, for instance, me. I do not have any planets in Taurus, but it is in my 12th house. And finally, I will be out of town this weekend, but I have pre-recorded videos ready to go on the astrological events that will be happening. The big one is Saturday, the 25th. As most people have heard, we have Gemini moving into Uranus, and that is a 7-year cycle. Okay, so I did do all the zodiac signs on what will happen specifically if it's your rising or your sun sign. You feel free to go back into my bio and check those out. But we have a couple of other things going on the 25th. And then I have one for the 26th, the 28th, and the 29th. I should be releasing those probably about a day early to give you time to be able to harness and work with the energy of the astrology of that day. Okay. Now, let's get into this. What is going on with our Taurus folks? Let's find out what their desires are, what their motives are, what's blocking them. And see if we can't get any other details and what's going to be happening during that full moon, depending on which full moon that is. And I hope you're doing well if I didn't say that. Oh, wow. So that's interesting. I just did Sagittarius. They ended up with the 6 of Swords, but that was their blockage. Interesting. Oh, okay. Ace of Swords. That's your blockage. We've got 7 of Cups. And then final, we have Judgment. Wow. Okay. So Taurus, it looks like you have your intentions and your motivations is to move on. You're moving on from something. You're transitioning on. it might be a little chaotic. You might be in some rough waters right now, and you're like, you know what? I need to move on to something a little bit more calm, a little bit more peaceful. Now, I don't know if that is just, whatever it is that you're doing is mentally, because we've got, swords here for your blockage. Or, if it's a thought of something going on in your life, that can be different for everybody. It is a collective reading. So your blockage. So we've got the Ace of Swords. So you're not getting clarity on something. Or maybe there was something that was said and maybe you're not understanding it. So maybe while somebody said something or provided you some information, maybe it's just not that clear to you right now. And I say that because, to break it down a little further, for the last quarter of the moon cycle, here we've got the Seven of Cups. So that's confusion, illusion, delusion, or simply many options. So you could be very well confused on which of these options you want to go, right? So, you know what? Oh my God, I am so sorry. Your intentions, you've got Seven of Swords, not Six of Swords. I feel like I was just deceived. I deceived myself. This is Seven of Swords, Taurus. You're okay. That makes total sense. Because I thought Six of Swords, you want to move on, something stressful, you want to transition on from something, you want to get into smoother waters. Now I'm like really looking at it. You need to look at something again. That's why it's not clear. You need to look at something again. Because either you're lying to yourself or somebody is lying to you. Whoa, that was a head trip. It almost made me feel like I was literally sitting in your position, to where it was like, you thought something was clear. You thought, yep, I got it. I'm hearing it. It's clear. And then like you turned around again and it was like, wait a minute. No, that is not correct. That's the deceit. Something you are lying to yourself about something. So somebody might be trying to make you feel like it's clear, and maybe you think something's clear that's being said, but there's a lot of confusion with the cups. And I feel like this could very well be somebody you have an emotional attachment to. There's an emotional connection to the confusion. Now, full disclosure, because this is the moon cycle reading, and really during the new moon, it's supposed to be your intentions and your motives. This could very well be you lying to somebody. And I don't mean that in a harsh way. I think maybe maybe you need to be clear about something and you're afraid to be clear. So it's like there's a blockage because you need to be clear about something that is causing confusion. So we can flip this. It can be either it's towards you or you towards somebody else. There is something that needs to be clear that's not clear. The blockage is the fact that there's not clear communication or a clear understanding of a situation. The full moon, you've got judgment, a Scorpio energy. There needs to be, during the full moon phase, some sort of action being taken. A final decision, a final, maybe you need to take a review of yourself. Judgment is about taking a look at you and knowing you need to take action on something. Wow. This was a head trip. So I haven't even clarified, and I'm like, what's going on here? Whew, let's start off with the Seven of Swords. Let's get more on that. What is this Seven of Swords? You could just be simply sidestepping, being clear with somebody. Maybe you're feeling uncomfortable about having to be clear, I'm not judging you or downing you. I'm just saying I'm trying to understand this to help you. So what is this Seven of Swords? We have the Star, Aquarius energy. Two of Swords. So there's some hope, healing, indecision, not wanting, to make a decision, not wanting, you're blocking something out of your head about healing. Ten of Cups. That's being deeply emotional and happy. Can be family. Whoever you consider your family to be. It's kind of like I feel maybe you've been sidestepping the fact of coming to the realization in order to feel emotionally satisfied. It looks possibly like we're talking relationships, so maybe the confusion is you might have a lot of options in love. Okay? It's not a shocker. Taurus is lovable. Taurus is loyal. They're lovable. They're very protective. They're stubborn. But, I'll raise my hand. I'm a Scorpio. I'm stubborn too. Okay? No judgment. No judgment. But, you're a patient person. You're very determined. And here's the thing. It's very much like you're torn between knowing there's something that needs to be healed in your life. Okay, there's something that needs to be healed, and for you to be able to trust yourself in an emotional connection where you feel happy. So I feel you want this, but you're at a crossroads in your head and sidestepping and lying to yourself, and maybe sidestepping all these love options, all these cups of love, because in order to have a cup of love with somebody, you need to heal. Now, you could need to heal with maybe a specific person. Maybe there is a specific person you want to heal with, even though you have a lot of options to, that are available to you. And maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe there was a lot of surface level, but in your mind, you were lying to yourself, but you really want something deep and connected. And that's part of what's happening here. But in order to have that 10 of Cups, that true, happy, fairy tale ending connection and love, you have to be open to healing yourself and make that conscious decision to do that so you can. And that's where it's getting clear with yourself. So tell me about this Ace of Swords. What exactly would we need to get clear on? Man, your reading's a little bit of a head trip, man. I feel like I've been taken one place and then jerked back to another, and then it's, and maybe that's just it. You're not being clear with a lot of people that are available to you. And so everybody's got maybe a little different story from you, because you're not quite sure what you want to do. So everybody's getting a different story, which is funny because I was like, yeah, 6 of Swords. Yeah, you're right. Transition, blah, blah, blah. And then I look back and I'm like, wait a minute. Whoa, 7 of Swords. That's a whole different story. So Taurus, are you telling people different things? Tell me about the Ace of Swords. Eight of Swords. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. King of Pentacles. Yeah, it feels a lot like you've been holding yourself back from moving forward. The King of Pentacles is generous, with their resources and their time. And it feels like, you may have been focusing on a lot of work lately. And you're not really focusing your time on starting a new love cycle, right? You're restricting yourself with the 8 of Swords. So you're not clear with yourself, and you're certainly not clear with any of the options that are available to you. Okay. And time moves forward, right? The Wheel of Fortune, time moves forward, but you in your mind with the Eight of Swords blocking, even though time's still moving, you personally are sitting still and not being clear with yourself or anybody else. Okay? And I don't feel like it's you're being malicious. I think it's that you would need to either heal with somebody, and you would need to heal yourself as well as healing with a person, because you have to understand, when you're in connections, two people need to grow together, so they're constantly healing in the relationship and connection, right? So it's two separate people coming together whole. Your person is constantly working on themselves, because nobody's perfect, right? You're not perfect, I'm not perfect, and none of these options are perfect. But if you find the perfect one for you, to where you both can heal separately while you're together and work on yourselves together, then that's a great relationship. But you're stopping the cycle in your mind, right? Even though time's still moving, we're getting older, you're still standing still when it comes to healing yourself. So it's like you're not ready to open yourself up and get clear. You need to get clear with yourself that you're holding yourself back from having that ultimate 10 of Cups. Because I think you want it. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's the, oh man, I gotta work on myself. You know what I mean? I gotta, because when you're with somebody, you have to be respectful of the person you're with. You need to be mindful and talk things out, and, get plans moving as a team, right? It's not I against you. It's a we. Are we on the same page? Do we have the same goals? Do we have the same beliefs? Do we, want to deal with raising children the same way? It's those kinds of things, right? Where do we see ourselves in 10 years from now? Do we expect to have, a certain amount of money in the bank? And, where do we want to retire? Things like that. It's getting on the same page as a team. And I don't know if that's something you were quite ready to do, but that's where the clarity needs to come in. You need to understand that it is the King of Pentacles does share their resources, their time, and their energy. And, you may not have felt like you were ready to do that. So let's take a look at the Seven of Cups. Let's get more on this Seven of Cups. Knight of Wands, baby. Passion and energy and drive to move forward. Get out of that confusion. Let's move forward. Pick a love cup. Yeah. The Knight of Swords. Have no fear. Follow your passion and your energy. Have no fear. Speak what needs to be spoken. And here's the King of Cups. There's the emotion. There's the King of Cups. Now, one of these options available to you could be a water sign, right? Because we did have judgment in the full moon phase. So we could be looking at, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. Where you need to get a little more emotional, right? Don't be afraid to show your emotions. Don't come at the person you want to be with. Don't be afraid to show the emotion. I think that is one thing you're really afraid of, which is why you're stopping time and blocking yourself. But it's saying here, in order to kind of break out of this, is to push forward. Stay focused. Speak. And don't be afraid to speak about how you feel. Jump into the King of Cups, which is about the emotion. Harmonize the logic and feelings. Trust your guidance, your intuition, with your passion. Don't be afraid of your feelings. I think I'm talking to somebody who's a little nervous about their feelings, which is why everybody was getting a different story and it threw me off. So let's get to the judgment, because judgment is about action, right? It's action. It's like, okay, by the full moon, let's make a decision here. Let's get out of the Two of Swords here. See the guy sitting here? He's got the two swords on his back. Got the moon up here. I could say third. I'd say third quarter moon. He's looking out at the water. The water is emotion. So it's like, you got to start feeling this now. And judgment's like, okay, what are we doing? Full moon. Tell me about judgment. We've got the Nine of Pentacles. Oops. Five of Wands, conflict. And we have the Three of Pentacles, which is a lot about the progress. Three of Pentacles can be about waiting for your ships to come in as well. With the conflict, I think you're going to find yourself in a lot of conflict with a lot of these options if you continue as a single person while still barely connecting to these cups of love. There's going to be a lot of conflict with they're going to get very frustrated with you if you remain independent and just kind of sit and wait. So are you just sitting and waiting for one of these options to come towards you to harmonize emotionally? Because here's the thing. It's not about which one of these people are going to come towards you. I think the question you need to ask is, who do you want? Because you might have one of these cups come towards you that your passion and your heart's not really in. It does. It feels like judgment. You need to take the action to step forward towards somebody that you have feelings for. And I'm talking real feelings, not just, whatever you were feeding some 2 or 3 people. I don't know how many people, when nowadays in the dating world, people, it's like they're dating 10 people because it's, you're swiping. I know I dated quite a few people in my 30s. I was dating different people each weekend. It was just a phase, and I think everybody goes through it. And I think it's going to cause a lot of outer conflict and tension and competition with all these options if you don't legitimately go for the one that you feel the most emotion for. Okay? And I think that's what's going to happen is it's time. The full moon, gets pretty intense because that's a release. It's almost like you need to release the ones that you really don't have the emotional connection with. And I don't know if that's going to be the Scorpio full moon coming up May 1. Some of you it could be. Others of you, this could be the full moon at the end of May, right? It just kind of depends on where you are in this phase. But it looks like you're going to be forced to deal with something, or there's going to be a lot of conflict coming at you. Because I think you have a lot of people waiting to find out, hey, Taurus, where are we going with this? Like, are we a couple? Are we serious? I think you're going to have a lot of that if you don't decide who you want to be with. And it does look like there is somebody here you want to heal with. Let's get you a moon card and close this out. You're going to have a lot going on, Taurus. The thing is, you need to get clear with everybody and you need to get clear with yourself. Waning gibbous moon. A time for deep reflection and insight, gathering wisdom to prepare for the next phase of your journey. Reflection, wisdom, gratitude, and transition. Yeah, it's time to really reflect on who it is that you want to heal and harmonize with so you can go on to the next phase of your life. Right now you've just got a lot of options, and well, Taurus, if you don't make this decision, they're going to be coming at you. And it's going to cause a lot of tension and conflict because they're going to want answers. So if you don't decide now, they're going to come towards you, okay? It's going to be a lot. This isn't a pretty picture. Look at that. You're going to be in the middle fighting all these guys or gals coming at you because they want to know, hey, are we a couple? Are we a pair or what? Up to you, Taurus. This is going to be a big one for you, my friend. Hey, man, at least you're the one that has the options. I know it's not easy being on either end. It can be a lot if you have a lot of options. But at the end of the day, you got to say, who is it that you feel the emotional connection to? who makes you feel good, right? Not all these options are going to. Some of them may be really attractive. Others may have a lot of money in the bank. But who makes you feel good emotionally? Okay? Maybe that's one way to look at it. So I hope this was helpful. If it resonated, subscribe, drop a comment, share, like, and don't forget to wait for the astrological event videos coming that will be trickling out while I am out of town, because your girl is going to take the first week of Gemini rolling into Uranus. Yeah, I'm going to go clean my aura. So keep in mind, you're going to see me in the same outfit for 4 videos. No, your girl's not wearing the same outfit 4 days in a row. I did a marathon on getting those ready and prepared before I left so I could be in peace while I go cleanse my aura. So I love you guys. Until the next one, I will talk to you soon.